The purpose of this video is to provide you a review for the final exam. So as you see here in front of you, these are the problems that you need to review for Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. The concepts in Chapter 9 that are important that you have a good understanding of are Type 1 and Type 2 error, interpreting p-values, hypothesis testing, when the population standard deviation is known and unknown. So those problems I've listed there are problems that either will be on the test or something like them will be on the test. So knowing how to do those should prepare you for everything you need to know in Chapter 9. Chapter 10 problems are listed there, 10, 35, 45, 46, 47. But the big concept in Chapter 10 was understanding how an ANOVA table works and sort of interpreting the results. So you look at a table and what does it mean? So there will be a question on the test where I give you an ANOVA table and I ask you questions about it. So just make sure you understand how to interpret what an ANOVA table tells us. And then from Chapter 12, we've got these problems here. Now in Chapter 12, we got into a little bit more with the ANOVA table, but understanding the sum of squares and sum of square error and all of that, just kind of having a really good grasp of how that ANOVA table works and what those numbers tell us. As well, there was the coefficient of determination, adjusted R-squared, and a few other goodness of fit measures that you could just, listen to the goodness of fit video again, for a little review of that. And then finally, Chapter 13. Really, Chapter 13 is just more of the same. There'll be one dummy variable question on the test. It'll be one that I've gone over before, and if you just take a look at that, I mean, I'm sure that would be sufficient, right, to get you through. My idea with this test is that it is really a basic test to make sure that you have learned the broad principles involved in this class. And it is not to test whether or not you can get the third decimal place correct on some crazy complicated statistics test, right? I just want to make sure that you've got the basics here. What I'm the most interested in that you've learned in this class, I mean, like I told you in class tonight, is that you are able to take a position on something, go find some data, and then support your assertions one way or the other. So last year, the final exam took the format of this document. So this is just actually the final from last year. I told you I would just use one of these problems. But last year I had some trouble finding an article that I liked that really got at the points I wanted. And so I just wrote this up. So you can see that in this case, they had 2 hours and 30 minutes. You're going to have less than that, so your problem will be a little simpler. Since moving to Maine, I've heard that the population is decreasing. And so how would I be able to test that? So using the statistical abstract, and then I kind of tell you where to go. Conduct a statistical test to determine if the median age in the United States has changed between 2010 and 2014. You have to describe the data. You have to test what you were trying to test and tell me, if it worked or not. Like, did you find the results you wanted to, or did you not? And I also gave you this, which I will give you again. So this is the same exact format that you are using for your project. You're going to propose a research question, you're going to gather the data, you're going to describe the data, then you're going to do some sort of an analysis, and then you're going to create some effective business communication that sort of succinctly provides a concise argument. And it's going to be an APA format, and you're going to write one paragraph about this. So it's like a little tiny mini research project. Now mind you, you're going to have less time than they had last year. Last year they had the full 2.5 hours, and you're not going to have that. So yours is going to be, pretty succinct. And I already have the problem picked out. And it's a very simple, here is what I read. Just tell me if it's right or wrong. It has the site right on it. So you just go right there, download the data. It should be all very straightforward. The goal, of course, is to pull together all the stuff we've done all semester and just kind of see how well you can think on your feet. So you'll do part 1 of the test, which will be like on Blackboard or something. And then you'll do this, will be separate, but you have to finish the part 1 before you can move on to part 2. So it'll be sort of about managing your time. And I will give you just 2 hours to do it. And so, you're going to want to do one and finish it up and then move right on to the second one. So I'm not going to do any problems for you because I've kind of done all of these things for you in other videos, even this last problem. The one that I just posted right before this one, the how to do a research problem, is the same, right? And that's exactly, you gather the data, you have to mess around with the data, get it organized, and you do a test, and then you interpret what you find, which I did all of that in that other video. So if you've got questions about this, you can take a look at that. But I really think that just practicing this stuff and trying to synthesize it in your brain is really all you have to do. The hard part is hacking through all the new concepts that you learn in statistics, but once you kind of get them in your brain, I think this part should be a little easier for you, actually. So I'm going to be a little bit more difficult to get a hold of for the next 10 days. But you can always email me, and if I don't email you back right away, then you should email me again. But also on your projects, I'd like to see your very best work, and I realize that you guys all kind of came into this class with very different levels. So what I'm going to expect from one person is going to be a little bit different than the other. I'll have a rubric and I'm going to grade it, but believe me, I am aware that we kind of all came at this in a different way. So I hope this alleviates a little bit of stress, and I hope that you can enjoy your Thanksgiving break, and I look forward to reading your papers and hearing from you. All right? Take care.